Good evening and welcome to the April Ordinary Council meeting. Just prior to us starting, I just see that we've got Councillor Stewart and Councillor Pollard there on Zoom. Can you see and hear us, councillors?
Yes, we can hear and see you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. So I'd just like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet tonight, and pay my respects to any elders that may be present and elders from many other communities that may be with us tonight. Thank you. Receipt of apologies, I have none.
None, Mayor.
Thank you. Item 3, confirmation of minutes of previous meeting. Councillors have a recommendation that Council adopt the minutes of the Council meeting held on Wednesday 13th of March 2024 and Council adopt the minutes of the Council meeting held on Wednesday 20th of March 2024. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please?
Happy to do that, Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
you. Councillor Mill and a seconder.
Happy to do that, Mayor.
Councillor Warren, thank you. Any discussion?
No, fine, thank you.
All those in favour?
Thank you.
That's carried. Requests for leave of absence. We have any of those requests?
No, Mayor, not that I've received.
No, thank you. Item 5, declaration of pecuniary and conflicts of interest. In accordance with section 132 of the Local Government Act 2020, councillors who have a conflict of interest in respect of a matter being considered at this meeting must A, disclose the conflict of interest in the manner required by the Council's Governance Rules 2020 and A, exclude themselves from any decision-making process in relation to the matter, including any discussion, vote on the matter at any council meeting, delegated committee, and any action in relation to this matter. The disclosure must occur immediately before the matter is considered or discussed. Council, do you have any conflict of interest tonight?
None that I'm aware of.
Thank you. Questions from the public, which we've had 3. Mr. CEO.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you, we do have 3 questions from Mr. Dean Hurlston, who is the President of Council Watch Inc. Question 1 goes as follows. What amount of waste enforcement costs in the current financial year, 23-24, has the Council included in its waste levies charged to residents, if any?
The answer to that is that no waste enforcement costs are included in the waste charge to the residents in the 23-24 annual budget, as it's too infrequent action for the council to budget for.
Thank you, Mayor. Question 2 is what amount of revenue has council included in the current financial year 23-24 from waste enforcement actions?
The answer is council has not included any revenue in its current budget related to waste enforcement action, as it's too infrequent action for council to budget for.
Thank you, Mayor. And question 3 is, has the revenue been offset in the waste levy or applied to council's general revenue streams?
The answer to that one is there is no revenue included. This question is not applicable.
And Mayor, if I may, we also received some comments from Mr. O'Day, who I acknowledge is in the gallery this evening, and we'll pass those through the councillors via the bulletin, Mayor.
Thank you. 7, procedural item. 7.1, letters of congratulations and recognition of achievement awards. I don't have any. Councillor Simpson.
Let me think. The Richard Group and District Land Care Group have won, and I can't remember the name of the award, but I can send it through. So that would go to Marnie Jury, who is the leader of the Witchy Proof Group, and there was a second award won by Marnie for environmental improvements. I will send through the details.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson.
Mayor, just to build on that, I think it's the front page of the North Central News today, which acknowledged a raft of local residents in land care awards. Maybe I'll send that through to the EA, because there were quite a number across the whole Shire that were acknowledged for their contribution over many years to land care.
Thank you, Councillor Warren. In that case, we will have a recommendation that council acknowledges and congratulates the persons and or groups mentioned in the report for their achievements. Private Buda, and a seconder for that, please. Councillor Simpson will move, and seconder. Councillor Warren, all those in favour? Carried. 7.2, report of councillor assemblies. Council's got a recommendation that council note the report of council assembly meetings held the 6th of March and 20th of March 2024. Could I get a mover and a seconder for those points? Councillor Mill and a seconder. Councillor Simpson. Thank you. Any discussion, Councillor Mill?
No, what I can see here listed is, as I remember, so I'm happy with that, thank you.
Councillor Simpson.
I'm happy with the minutes as prepared.
Good. All those in favour? No one against, that's carried. Thank you. 7.3, correspondence initiated by council, the office of the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you, I noted in that report that we had sent that letter through to Melissa Horn MP in relation to the local council electoral structure review. To date, we have not received a reply, Mayor.
Thank you. Council have a recommendation that council notes the record of correspondence initiated by council and the response received. Can I have a mover and a seconder of those, please? Councillor Warren, seconder. Councillor Pollard, I think that's you up there. Yeah, had your hand up. Need to sort of get you up the side so I can see you, Councillor Pollard. I can't see you. All those in, that's it. Gotcha. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Carried. Thank you. 7.4, building permits monthly update, community development.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you, councillors, this is your standard monthly report providing information on building permits approved for the month of March for your noting.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgibbon. Councillors have a recommendation that council note information contained in the report on building permits approved by staff from 1 March 2024 to 31 March 2024. Could I get a mover and a seconder, please, for those? Councillor Pollard, thank you, and a seconder. Councillor Hogan. Any discussion, Councillor Pollard?
No, thanks, Mr Mayor. We're only noting the report.
Yep, thank you. Councillor Simpson.
No.
All those in favour? That is carried. Thank you. 7.5, planning applications received monthly update. Mr Fitzgibbon, you are again, sir.
Thank you again, Mayor. Councillors, this report provides information on planning applications under consideration by staff and the status of each of those applications.
Thank you, Mr Fitzgibbon. Councillors have a recommendation that council note the information contained in the report on planning applications under consideration by staff and the status of each of these applications. Could I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Warren, a seconder. Councillor Hogan, any discussion?
Look, just, I suppose, a comment. I noticed that the rural work accommodation's been kept with it since December last year. Accommodations are in trouble at the moment, especially for workers. Is there some issue holding up this particular one that we need further information to overcome a significant serious problem?
Through the Mayor, no, so this is at 49 days, with the statutory 60 days. I will note that the Development Services team have been fairly busy through the last month in particular with a range of large-scale events, so but there's still 11 days. I have, however, Councillor Warren asked the manager of the Development Services to reach out to the applicant tomorrow to just set some expectations with them. The expectation is that permit will be issued next week.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Hogan?
No, I'm fine with as is.
Councillor Mill?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just a question through you with regard, and I think I've asked it, that may well have been answered in the bulletin, but because I've only got access to that part of the bulletin tonight, thanks to our IT man. To this 1, 2, 3, 4, 003, I asked a question about the heritage overlay and demolition of a building within that overlay. Will we be able to enlighten me on that, please?
So we can through the Mayor, and I'll send you a more articulate response, Councillor Mill.
Yep.
But the difference between the two descriptions in that report basically as a result of how the applicant is fed into the form. So it's the way it's spat out, but I'll send you a more articulate response through our development services team for you. But that will be the next bulletin as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. All those in favour? Against, that's carried. Thank you. 7.6, status of action of past council meetings resolution. Office of the CEO.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, the usual monthly report just highlighting the actions undertaken on council resolutions. And Mayor, I'd also like to note that an update on the risk and resilience grant. We have been successful in achieving that funding, Mayor, which will mean that Donald will receive the additional mechanical levy that will go across the Richardson River there in Donald. Mayor, thank you.
Very good. Council, we have a recommendation that council note the status of action report for council resolutions documented on this list. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Simpson and Councillor Warren. Any discussion, Councillor Simpson?
Only to say that that's really good news about the levy for Donald, and that this is being actioned. So although some things tend to be there for some time, we are working through them.
Councillor White.
No, nothing there.
Thank you. All right, council's recommendation there. All those in favour?
Okay.
Against, that's carried. Thank you. 8, general business. 8.1, policy report. Draft affects fair access policy. Miss Allen, I believe this would be you.
Thank you, Mayor, and through you. The Buloke Shire Council Fair Access Policy has been developed in response to the Victorian Government's Fair Access Policy Roadmap, which was initiated in 2022 and seeks to address known barriers experienced by women and girls in accessing and using community sports infrastructure. The draft policy and action plan has been reviewed by the Policy Manager at the Office for Women in Sport and Recreation and has received positive feedback to this point. The policy complies with the Gender Equality Act 2020 and aligns with municipal public health and wellbeing plans, as well as Council's own Gender Equality Action Plan and the Buloke Shire Council Inclusiveness Plan. Councillors, this report presents the draft Fair Access Policy and seeks endorsement of the release of the draft policy and associated action plan, further community feedback prior to a final policy and action plan being presented at a future council meeting for adoption.
Thank you, Ms Allen. Council have a recommendation that council endorse the draft fair action policy to be distributed for community feedback and consultation. Could I have a mover and a seconder for that point? Councillor Hogan, mover, seconder, please. Councillor Pollard, thank you. Discussion, Councillor Hogan.
I'm very happy to endorse the release of this draft policy. It's really good. It's a very well prepared, comprehensive document, and it will be good to see it disseminated through the community. This won't be an onerous policy for a lot of our sporting clubs to consider. We've already had in recent years, particularly a number of pathways made for women and girls, and there's always been a fairly organic inclusiveness within our sporting codes, especially up here. So I think this is merely a formalisation of what many of our community sporting clubs already do.
Thank you, Councillor Hogan. Councillor Pollard.
Yes, thanks. Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just think it's positive for to go out to the community. The community will give us feedback on this, but it's something to help the community actually comply with Gender Equality Act and the Local Government Act as well, and the Equal Opportunity Acts. It's an assistance for them to look at and to guide them through the three acts that this goes through.
Thank you, Councillor Pollard. Any further comment, Councillor?
Thanks, Mayor. Probably just some questions now. This particular, I suppose, pathway, gender equity or the fair access policy, has its origins back in 2022, early 2022, when it was released by Council. I'm just curious that the first time that we as a council have seen it, a briefing last week and now this week, to go out to the community for comment with an expectation that we will adopt this before this end financial year so that it can be operational on the 1st of July 2024. My concern is that we're not allowing us enough time to look at the ramifications of this policy and the implications of this policy from a community perspective. If you look at some of the, I suppose, discussion about it and the flyers that have been put out there, it makes comment in reference, for argument's sake, to if you're a local cricket club that receives funding from the council, you will be required to have 30% of your committee in non-playing capacities or on your committee in playing capacity, so that you have to have female cricket teams. Now, that's the information community officer. I just find that fairly onerous. I mean, there's something in our small communities where we struggle. We have many sporting clubs that struggle to get numbers of ball genders. And we see that because we only have to look out there at the amalgamations that are occurring. And that's because at the junior level, we don't have the, if you like, the capital coming through. I think, I mean, my concern is the old saying is to act in haste, repent in leisure. We're giving ourselves a very short time frame to talk to our communities so that they understand the implications of what these policies have on our communities. And I mean, I see it, as we all do, when we go to committee meetings of sporting groups and bodies where they struggle to get numbers. And I just have a real concern that whilst, yes, it's government policy, and I mean, the carrot's there, if you don't adopt it, you won't get funding. So that's, you know, to me, it's a little bit of a big stick sort of thing. So I do have reservations. So I really want to know if it is endorsed tonight, what is the process now to get to our communities and have an open and frank discussion how they can comply with this government directive? What's the roadmap for us within, we are talking 2 months. I'm assuming you think this will come back to the June meeting. Our record in the past on community consultation is not fantastic. I mean, we're now looking at our budget at the moment. We haven't consulted with the community and it's in the budget roadmap. So I'm very concerned about that. So if you can enlighten me on what the process is to educate and support, I mean, this process has been going on since 2022. Many councils around here adopted this last year. Many. I mean, you know, we're at the point end, but we haven't had the discussion with the community. If you can just enlighten me, make me more feel comfortable, I think we have to work very, very closely with our communities on this matter. Michelle?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the community consultation that we will do will include through our normal social media channels. We will speak to Facebook surveys. We will go out and we are consulting with the committees directly. There's been a number of conversations that we've had through the community planning process already. The communities are very aware of the fair access policy and the drafting process. But it will be an intensified community consultation process in the next month with the intent to bring a draft policy for council's consideration at the June meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Any other council? Councillor Hagan, would like to reply?
This is a good policy. It encourages fair play, good manners, decency and inclusive behaviours, and I'm sure it'll be taken up very quickly by most of, if not all of the sporting groups within our region, within our shire.
Thank you. Council's been moved by Councillor Hogan, seconded by Councillor Pollard. All those in favour? Against? Abstained. And so that's Councillor Warren is saying that's carried. Thank you. 8.2 management reports. 8.21 audit and risk committee chair report. Corporate and organisational performance. Miss Allen, I believe this is you again.
Thank you, Mayor. And through you, presented within this report is my annual audit and risk report from the Chair of the Audit and Risk Committee. The Chair presented the findings and recommendations within the report at last week's council briefing. Councillors, this report presents the biannual audit and risk report for your noting.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Councillors have a recommendation. The council note the report from the Chair of the Audit and Risk Committee. Can I get a mover in the second, please? Councillor Hogan and Councillor Warren. Councillor Hogan, any discussion?
I just want to note that the audit committee chair noted in a complimentary way that the support and professionalism provided to her by the council staff, despite their ongoing staff vacancies. And there was also a note from the internal and external auditors were also very complimentary of the council staff. I think it's worth raising that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hogan. Councillor Warren.
Look, I suppose to add to it, I think it was a very enlightening presentation by the chair at our briefing the other week. Certainly put it on the line for us. This is, if you like, a very difficult balancing act the Buloke Shire has to go through to stay on the narrow side of things. She, in all fairness, pointed out the downfalls of the Shire, which I think that's the job of that committee. And I was appreciative of the frank and open manner which she told councillors how the Shire was progressing without any fear of favour.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillor comment? All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Thank you. 8.22, draft audit and risk committee meeting minutes of the 7th of February. Ms Allen, you again.
Thank you, Mayor. And through you, presented within this report is the February 7th audit and risk committee meeting minutes for your notice.
Thank you. Councillors have a recommendation that council note the confirmed minutes of the audit and risk committee meeting held on the 7th of February 2024. Could I get a mover and a seconder for those, please?
I'm happy. Your turn.
Councillor Warren has moved that. Councillor Hogan has seconded that. Any discussion?
Look, I think it's a fair representation of what went on that particular meeting. The only comment I would make, and this relates to, I suppose, the budget timetable. At that meeting in February, there was a budget timetable presented, which was looked over by the Audit and Risk Committee. I would suggest, given the significant changes in the timetable spoken about this week, that the chair be advised that there has been significant changes which is impacting the time frame. Only in fairness, because they need to have the whole picture. But apart from that, it's a fair representation of that particular meeting.
Councillor Hogan?
No, I'm happy to note the report.
Any other councillors? All those in favour? Yes, that's carried. Thank you. 8.2.3, Children, Youth and Families Plan, Community Development, and I'm not sure who's handling this one. Mr. Fitzgibbon, you're handling this one.
Thank you, Mayor, where everything and nothing's as it seems. Councillor, tonight we bring you the Children, Youth and Families Plan for adoption. The plan combines the Buloke Children and Youth Strategy and the Buloke Shire Council Municipal Early Years Plan into a single 10-year plan to address the needs of children, young people and their families. The plan focuses on planning, advocacy and the delivery of services, programs, events and spaces for children, young people and their families for the next 10 years. I'd also like to note the engagement of Buloke Young Citizen of the Year, Blake Lee, in providing most of the photography art in the document and congratulate him on his work. Councillors, tonight we bring you the Children, Youth and Families Plan for adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgibbon. The recommendation is that council adopt the Children, Youth and Families Plan. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Mill.
Yeah, I move that.
And a seconder. Councillor Simpson. Sorry, Councillor Pollard, you got beaten by a second. Any discussion?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just to suggest that this is another one of these things that we've been working on for some time, and that's an area that I know that a lot of our Shire people, our ratepayers, our citizens value children and youth work and potential very much, and to have something that's now in place for us to a new document that's in place for us to buy through is very exciting for that cohort, as well as all that support them is to me.
Thank you, Councillor Mill. Councillor Simpson.
just to add to Councillor Milne's comments that, that this will give us, leverage, for having a 10-year plan, to hopefully improve the outcomes and opportunities for our 0 to 24-year-old.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Any other councillor comment?
Just a comment, and again, I'll go back to the chair of the board and risk, who was fairly strong in the views that as a council, we really need not to raise expectations of our community on things that we can't deliver effectively. I mean, if you go through this report, it went out there and there was a lot of, we asked people what they wanted, of course. When you ask people what they want, they will tell you they want a hydro swimming pool in every town in the Shire, you know, as an example. The reality is we can't deliver a hydro swimming pool in every town in the Shire, but similarly with this particular document too. A lot of those things, in the perfect world, given the fact that we have a, well, I'd say we have a home brew budget, we don't have a champagne budget with Buloke Shire, that we have to be careful of those expectations that we don't raise them too much. I mean, if I look at the fact that in that consultation period and engagement period, there was one written submission on a significant policy. So, I mean, you just have to sort of balance it a little bit, that there was one submission. But what, I don't even know what was, is it not alluded to in this document? Like, was it supportive or have other ideas, etc.? Anyway, thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other further councillors? Councillor Mill, right to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you, well, I guess, to take up Councillor Warren's point about, one submission, I think we find that that's a general, attitude towards a lot of things we put out, and we'll, you know, we'll talk about that, very shortly in another, thing we want to talk about, but it is very difficult to get, citizens who are ratepayers, people, to make comment, unless you actually go to them and approach them directly. But as far as the expectation goes on this, I think it's good to have the full story, full picture. While yes, we might not be able to deliver everything that people want because of restraints, whether it's money, whether it's facility-wise, who knows? But it's good to have the full picture because if there's an opportunity to advocate using this document, then the document is complete and able to do that for us. So I'm still excited to have it. Taking into concern that one or two people think there's issues with that expectation, but Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to keep on supporting this as long as it's a relevant piece of policy or relevant piece of document.
Thank you,
Work through the document.
Councillor Mill, thank you. I'd just like to add that the staff need to be congratulated on putting this together. It's a way forward for us, and it's a document that's well put together. So thank you to the staff. So with all those in favour? Against? That's carried. 8.24 community grants. Mr. Fitzgibbon.
Thank you, Mayor. Through you, Councillor, this report outlines community grants.
Can I just, I've just had a starting thought that I reckon the Donald Gold will involve a relative, declare an interest, and locate this.
Thank you, Councillor Mill.
Yes. I'll make it work in we come back.
Yep, yeah, you're right. Thank you. Continue.
Let me go again. Councillors, this report outlines community grants applications recommended under the community grants process as per council's guidelines. Each application was assessed by an assessment panel with an application under the Community Sustainability Fund and one from the Project Support Fund stream of the Community Grants Fund. Councillors, tonight we bring you this community grants report for your consideration.
Thank you. Mr. Fitzgibbon. Council's got a recommendation that Council consider the following allocations of funds under the Community Grants Program. $2,000 Dignity of the Fallen, Charlton Neighbourhood House, Auspice for the Charlton RSL sub-branch. Consider the following allocation of funds from the Community Sustainability Program: $10,000 Donald Golf Bowls tractor replacement, Donald Golf and Bowls Club Incorporated. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Warren and a seconder. Councillor Pollard, thank you. Discussion, Councillor Warren.
Look, it's good to see these applications coming forward. I mean, and a variety of applications. I mean, we've got, something for everyone, so to speak. So I congratulate those. And I mean, I suppose one of the concerns that we've always had has always been discussed is whether we have a number of grants and all that sorts of things. You can see from there that the community are very circumspect about applying for grants, etc. Council, and if you don't like, we're never overrush to do it. I mean, I'd say where are we now? Towards the end of the year, and staff would know better that we're likely to hit our targets and allocate all the funds before the end of the year. Certainly sustainability about it, but maybe in the community. But yeah, good stuff. Great to see, and I mean, there'll be some very happy people tomorrow out there.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Pollard.
No, I'd just like to say that they both comply with our guidelines, so we should be supporting them.
Other councillors, Councillor Simpson.
Well, I understand that these grant applications meet with our guidelines. It sometimes concerns me that organisations which have a healthy bank account apply for grants of a considerable amount for a relatively small group of people, when we have organisations like Neighbourhood House, for example, who try and run multiple programs for multiple people, ranging from youth support right through to age support, and our grant considerations are often less than some of these larger amounts which go out to individual organisations. And once, for example, Neighbourhood House has put in their application, we can't seem to be able to extend further grants for quite worthy projects.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Any other councillor? Councillor Warren, do you want to reply?
No, I think as Councillor Pollard said, they've been vetted, they comply. Hopefully they're successful.
Councillors, all those in favour? Against? That is carried. Thank you.
And Mayor, if I may, through you, as Councillor Milne comes back into the chamber, just to inform him that that matter was passed by councillors as recommended.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. 8.2.5, Buloke Planning Scheme Review. Community Development. Mr. Fitzgibbon, you're up again, sir.
Thank you again, Mayor. Councillors, tonight we're bringing the Buloke Planning Scheme Review Report for adoption. The Buloke Planning Scheme Review Report 2023 has been prepared in partnership with the Regional Planning Partnerships team with the Department of Transport and Planning. The objective of the Planning Scheme Review is to enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of the planning scheme and achieving the objectives of the planning in Victoria and ensuring that planning scheme makes the best use of the Victorian planning provisions and the planning framework established by the Act. Council put the report out for consultation at its March 2024 meeting. Notification of the invitation to make a submission has been placed in locally circulated newspapers, on the Buloke Shire Council's website, on Council's social media pages, as well as being discussed on local radio. 2 submissions were received both post the closing date and compilation of the agenda. A detailed response will be supplied to each of those submitters. The strategic project in the recommendations will undergo consultation as required. Councillors, tonight we bring you the Buloke Planning Scheme Review Report for adoption.
Thank you, Mr. Fitzgibbon. Council, have a recommendation that Council 1 adopt the Buloke Planning Scheme Review Report, September 2023. 2023, and 2, in accordance with section 12B(5) of the Planning and Environment Act 1987, forward a copy of the adopted Buloke Planning Scheme Review Report, September 2023, to the Minister for Planning. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Warren, moved, and a seconder. Councillor Pollard, thank you. Councillor Warren, discussion?
Yeah, look, I mean, in a very short time, we did elicit a response. One thing that does concern me, I don't recall any closing date for submissions. It certainly wasn't on any social media or any documentation with a closing date. I've been quite firm about that. And then first I heard about actually, if you like, a closing date was the fact I saw this on the agenda for tonight's meeting. So look, it is a very large topic, and certainly the challenge of housing in the Buloke Shire and of other issues of creating a very livable shire need to be addressed. If we want this shire to proceed and grow in the future, we need to set the planning conditions so that it can do that. And I think to some degree, we're not exactly pushing it hard enough. Now, I know we're always advised that we don't have to staff to attract staff and all those sorts of things. But surely there is some support from the state government for planning areas and those sorts of things that could help us achieve those outcomes. But at least it's got there. At this stage, we'll send it to the Minister, and hopefully the staff are able to get on and do this body of work that is going to help the Shire going forward.
Thank you. Well, Councillor Pollard?
No, nothing to comment, Mr Mayor.
Right. Councillor Mill?
Thank you, Peter. Just to, I think without carrying on too much, I mean, I did, when I looked up the Buloke Shire webpage to have a look at the draft, you can find the draft. You go into the actual report, and I couldn't find the end date there either. I did actually ask a question via email, which I haven't had a response to, so I'm wondering whether those emails are actually going through. So that was from the Facebook page, from the website page, through to whoever gets those, as to whether there was just a mystery, and the fact that there should have been a closing date for submission. But what I'm more worried about is the fact that the email might have got where it was going to go because of a glitch or something.
Yeah.
And while we've checked to make sure that there's no other submissions, since I raised this afternoon, so I just hope that it hasn't. There's no monkey in the system that's hindered people from actually making a submission.
We'll investigate that through the Mayor. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Councillor Mill. All those in favour? Yes, that's carried. Thank you. 8.3, financial reports, I have nil. 8.4, organisational reports, I have nil. 8.5, reports from councillors. Councillor Hogan.
Oh, I've lodged mine with the EA, so nothing really.
Councillor Pollard.
Only one thing, the Calder Highway Improvement Committee have been working on an advocacy document, and we'll be launching that in Brimbank on the 20th of April.
Thank you, Councillor Pollard. Councillor Stewart.
I have nothing I want to report, thanks.
Councillor Simpson.
One thing that I can think of of significance, thank you.
Councillor Mill.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just to a couple of budget forum attendance again. Buloke Tourism have had another meeting since, and a lot of that was conducted on, and a little bit of follow-up work being done there with some projects that are on the go. I attended Watching Fire Brigade, both as a member of this and as interested in the election outcome. On Monday night, Watching Progress was last night, and like Councillor Pollard, we have sit on the Sunrise Highway Committee. We have a strategic plan here that I'd like to table for council's information. And to say that Sunrise Highway was meeting with the Roads Minister today.
Yes.
We do have our deputy and another delegate from the SHIP committee went down after the meeting with the local member of the ribbon a fortnight ago. She arranged the meeting for them and they attended today, as I understand. I haven't heard
No.
how they were on, but that'll be me. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Milne. Councillor Warren, I know yours is attached.
Well, I've said it, just I suppose something that's not in it at this stage, because it's probably with another hat, as we all wear our hats, is the fact that we've been very busy in Donald for the last week, settling in our new doctor to the town, which, I mean, in small country towns, to attract a doctor is something of a great thing there. Our doctor comes from Belarus and via Melbourne, and I suppose we'll join a cohort of international doctors in the town of Russian or Belarus or Ukrainian descent. So that's good. So the family have moved up, they're settling in. I think the first day of work is next week when school resumes and so forth. And the other thing, you would be aware that Donald 2000 sent out an invitation to the official opening of the skate park at Donald. It's a long time coming. I mean, some of the ministers aren't that keen to open it, but the community have been keen for a long time to open it. And I thank the council for the fact that the youth officer was able to have coordinated the all aboard skate lessons or whatever the sessions they are. And that's going off like the firecrackers, they say. And I think we run off their feet on Sunday for this session because everyone's quite excited about that. It's good. And hopefully that will roll out of other venues across the Shire. So that's it for me. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Warren, and my report's attached there as well. 9, other business. Notice of motions. I have none. Questions from councillors. Councillors, do we have questions?
I have none.
Yes, Councillor Hogan? No. None. No. Councillor Milne?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. And I guess this is a bit of a repeat of stuff that we have discussed earlier. And I'm not sure that I understood if we had a resolution on this or not. It goes to our status and our standing on policy for these power lines, and whether we support it, whether we don't. We all know that there's been a bit of argument in the Shire this week with roadside soil testing going on, and a number of farmers joining farmers being quite dissatisfied with the fact that it was happening, and the amount of non-truth or non-information that they have to work with. Given that we have agreed to meet with a delegation of local farmers tomorrow in the Donald Chamber, just wondering whether we have, we're going to have a formal stance that we've all agreed on that will be taken to that meeting. I guess, and while probably not expecting the full word for word situation, I just really want to go there tomorrow knowing that we've got support for major part of our request. Whether it's going to be fruitful or not on their behalf, who knows? But I mean, we've got to be supporting the people that pay our rates one way, shape, or form, and whatever comes after a decision or the actions of a motion, then we deal with that then. But the question is, do we have a current stance that is public?
Through you, Mayor, I'm happy to take that question. So councillors will recall that some time ago we did take a position which was to encourage AEMO and TCV to engage with the community in a meaningful and transparent way to ensure that everybody did have the opportunity to provide feedback on the basis of that some of the initial approaches to the community were probably less than what was desirable. The Mayor and I have certainly met with AEMO or TCV today and provided that feedback as well. So the position at this stage is to encourage AEMO to engage with the community in a transparent way.
Sorry,
David.
Just, I think you should be brought to your attention, as you're probably fully aware, I've got a conflict of interest with this agenda item, but since we're not having a discussion in reference to it, I'm going to stop in the room.
Thank
And I'll
you.
put the paperwork in.
So Mayor, at this stage, that is the position. I would suggest that if council would like to do some further work on that, that we bring that back through a briefing and consider something that we may bring that at a future council meeting.
Thank you. So I'm comfortable with that. It is how I remember it, but I wasn't 100% sure. And I guess with the number of questions that I've had asked in the last couple of days from different people on right, which I thought about here tonight, from people through the Litchfield area where there's still talk of another route going on. I just wanted to ensure that when we get there tomorrow, we all understand where we're going. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Any further questions from council? Councillor Simpson?
Mine's not a question, mine's a statement regarding what Councillor Milne has just been saying. And I've been reading in the information that's come out regarding the offshore wind farms in the Warrnambool Port Ferry area that that we need to base our discussions on facts and not on feelings. So, for example, the Port Ferry area is putting together information on how these wind farms could affect the marine life in the area, and so if we equate that to ours, how the power lines could affect our farming and communities, not in an emotional way so much as in the factual ways.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Any other council questions?
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Through you to the CEO. Currently, council employs a building inspector on a contract, is that correct?
That's correct.
Are you able to advise me when that contract finishes?
That contract is currently at option stage. I'm looking at the relevant director. So
Correct. We're negotiating with the MBS on an extension.
we are negotiating with the municipal building surveyor as we speak on an extension, exercising the first of 2 12-month options. Is that correct?
I'll have to check the details about that. That's correct, is it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing further? No, thank you. Urgent business, I have nil listed. Any other business? I have nil listed. Matters which may exclude the public, I have nil listed, which brings us to item 10, meeting closed. And our next meeting, I'm going to go right back to the front. We are on this one. The next meeting of council will be held in Witchy Proof Supper Room 367 Broadway, Witchy Proof, on Wednesday, the 8th of May 2024 at 7 p.m. I thank you all for your attendance. Thank you, Zoom people.
Thank you, councillors.